Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Brajajana Ranjana. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Nitya Haribo, 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 Nitya Haribo. Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakacharya Sotatsar Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Prem Se Ko Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavanam Ki Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Ganga Mai Ki Yamuna Mai Ki Tulasi Devi Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Sankirtan Yagya Ki Brihad Mridanga Ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Gaur Pramananda Hari Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om. Naranaya namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto the Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta Prayasa Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavaduttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Good morning, everyone. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, Chapter 53, Text 28. And I may read the next verse as well, but we'll start with 28. Ata Krishna Vanirdishta Sa Eva Dvija Satamaha Antapura Charim Devim Raja Putrim Dadarshaha Ata Krishna Vanirdishta Sa Eva Dvija Satamaha Antapura Charim Devim Raja Putrim Dadarshaha Ata Krishna Vanirdishta Sa Eva Dvija Satamaha Antapura Charim Devim Raja Putrim Dadarshaha. Word for word meanings. Ata, then. Krishna Nirdishta, ordered by Lord Krishna. Saha, that. Eva, very. Dvija, of learned brahmanas. Sattama, the most pure. Antapura, within the inner palace. Charim, staying. Devim, the goddess Rukmini. Raja, of the king. Putrim, the daughter. Dadarshaha, saw. Translation by the servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Just then, the purest of learned brahmanas, following Krishna's order, came to see the divine princess Rukmini within the inner chambers of the palace. Please repeat. Just then, the purest of learned brahmanas, following Krishna's order, came to see the divine princess Rukmini within the inner chambers of the palace. Purport. According to Srila Sridhar Swami, Sri Krishna had reached the gardens outside the city, and out of concern for Rukmini, he had instructed the Brahmana to tell her of his arrival. I'm also going to read the purports by the Acharyas. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, the Brahmana was instructed particularly Vinirdishta by Krishna. Tell her that I have come to a garden in the city. He saw Rukmini, who is radiant, Devi, due to bliss, having seen Krishna in meditation. She was about to leave her chambers to come to Krishna, influenced by her meditation. Jiva Goswami writes, the Brahmana had been ordered by Krishna and no one else since he was qualified. Tell her that she has attained me. I will take her away. First he saw her. She did not see him first because she was moving about here and there with restless heart within the palace to see if the Brahmana had come. She was shining with the ornaments for marriage, Devim. Ha indicates joy. He was wondering while coming whether he would be able to see Rukmini or not, since Rukmi was so devious. Therefore he was joyous when he saw her. I'm just going to read the next verse. Text 29. Satam prahrishta vadanam avyagratma gatim sati alaksha lakshana bignya samaprichachuchi smita. Translation. Noting the Brahmana's joyful face and serene movements, saintly Rukmini, who could expertly interpret such symptoms, inquired from him with a pure smile. And there's no purport to this verse, but I'm going to read the commentaries by the Acharyas. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, I, Sunanda Brahmana, have come now from your beloved. Please cast your glance upon me, said the Brahmana in a loud voice. Rukmini, her meditation broken, then saw him standing there. Because the Brahmana's mind was not disturbed, he was smiling broadly. Seeing that Rukmini's anxiety disappeared, because she was knowledgeable of omens indicating success, the joy in the Brahmana's eyes and smile, and the quivering of the left side of her body. She then smiled slightly, indicating her genuine joy, Suchi. Previously, she had been falsely smiling to hide her inner suffering. And Jiva Goswami writes, she smiled out of joy since she knew the symptoms of good news. Since she was endowed to the highest degree with all good qualities, sati, she questioned him completely with respect, asking how he was, etc. She asked the Brahmana, who was moving serenely with joyous face, or she, with serenity of Yagra, asked him thoroughly about Krishna, who was her shelter, Atma Gatim. Where is he? What did he say? Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Karamayam Dadati Swavadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapata Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Shah Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prarijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakampitam Scha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshri Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Payevacha Titanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this glorious Sunday. I apologize if I was a minute or two. Okay. Anyways, please say a prayer that I can say something useful and in glorification of the Lord and Bhagavatam. As I often say, I'm not qualified to be here. I'm not qualified to say anything. I'm just trying to serve, so any prayers are extremely helpful. I'm just going to read the verses again. Just then the purest of learned brahmanas, following Krishna's order, came to see the divine princess Rukmini within the inner chambers of the palace. Noting the brahmana's joyful face and serene movements, saintly Rukmini, who could expertly interpret such symptoms, inquired from him with a pure smile. So to catch everyone up to speed, if you aren't already up there, this pastime, the Supreme Lord, Krishna, the Supreme Lord of all, the source of everything, in this pastime, has received a letter given by a brahmana from Rukmini, who is being set up to get married very shortly. Seems her brother is the one pushing the marriage, Rukmi, and she's definitely not into it. She's heard about Krishna and is immediately fallen in love with Krishna, smitten with Krishna. She can't think of anything else. And she wants Krishna as her husband. But obviously, or maybe not obviously, this is not, wouldn't go over well with the family and society and everything else. So Krishna gets the note, and immediately he says, what is he? Lord Krishna knew that no, that's not it. Anyways, the point is that immediately Krishna was like, okay, I'm going to be there. Rukmini's in my heart, I'm in Rukmini's heart, and we're going to make this happen. So they go, Daruka, his chariot driver, comes, and they go, as fast as possible, which is pretty fast, to the kingdom. Meanwhile, Rukmini is there in terrible anxiety, not knowing what's going to happen, wondering if Krishna's going to come, if the Brahmana made it, if he was able to deliver the message. Is she going to have to go through this marriage? Is she going to have to suffer all her life, knowing that Krishna is away, not able to serve Krishna? She's in this total anxiety, just pacing around back and forth. And, she's so emotional, tears are coming to her eyes. She's even thinking about committing suicide because she's thinking about, oh my God, well, if he doesn't come, then I'm going to have to go through this and I can't do it. I can't live without Krishna. It's just going to be too much. Emotional overload. I'm better to be dead. And that's pretty intense. And I was thinking, just reading this pastime, reading this chapter, reading any of these pastimes with Krishna in the Bhagavatam, it reminds me of so many movies that I've being brought up with. There's as we'll see, sorry, having a little problem here, but as she's in anxiety, they make it back, and in these verses, the Brahmin comes And just before he comes, she has all these omens, the shaking of her body and auspicious signs. And then when she sees the Brahman's effulgent, smiling face, she can tell, oh, okay, this is good news. Now some of my anxiety is relieved. He's here. And then she learns that Krishna is here. And then, as we'll see in the future, Krishna is able to just sweep in like nothing and take him, or take Rukmini. And it's amazing how much it's like a movie. It's like a fairy tale. And I can think of at least a couple movies that are so similar. And then even some stories, in actual books that are similar. And where's all this coming from? It's coming from Krishna. This is the ultimate story. And if you're able to surrender yourself into these pastimes and really get yourself absorbed into them, they're just as good as any modern movie. Of course, they're better, but it's amazing. And then you can feel these emotions. You can feel the emotions that Rukmini is going through. This anxiety, this not knowing what's going to happen. And I was thinking, man, why does Krishna put devotees in so much anxiety? Because a lot of these pastimes, devotees are in anxiety. And then I'm thinking about myself, and I don't know about anyone else. And a lot of times when I'm doing service, whether it's dressing the deities or doing Raj Bhog, there's a lot of anxiety involved. And it goes in waves, and especially, like, let's say, right now, where they're dressing, the time frame where the devotees are dressing on the altar is there's a lot of anxiety. And then when you're doing Raj Bhog, the last 15 minutes or so, the last 10 minutes of Raj Bhog, every time without fail, practically every time without fail, I'm in extreme anxiety. How is this going to happen? What's going to happen? And it's like you don't know what to do. You want to, sometimes you even think, oh God, I got to walk out, And one time I was on the altar, and it was one of those, I think Aditya Narayan said it the other day, it's like a fever pitch of emotion, right? And I'm on the altar, and it's just like, I can't do this, I'm sweating like a pig, and there's just no time left, and then, you want to do your best, and it's like, what is going on here? And then I was thinking, after all that happened, and this happened Friday with Raj Bhog, it seemed impossible. I had 10 minutes left. Everything was almost done, but not quite done. How am I going to finish it all? And I had a moment where I was like, but I had to keep going. And then I went out to the boga shed, where the laundry room is, to get something to make a quick chutney. And all of a sudden I get stung by a bee in the back of the neck. And that was really like, And then it's like, it's 9 minutes till the offering. So then at that point, I'm really like, oh man, this is too much. I better either like dive in and do it or just back off. And instead of backing off, I dived in, pushed through the pain. It was nothing, actually. And then when it was over, I was like, oh, God, what was that all about, But then when I had the Raj Bhog, and everyone else, I can't speak for everyone else, it's like, man, this was pretty good. This is a pretty good offering. And it's the same with the deities. You're dressing, you're like, I'm trying to put this on, flowers falling off, trying to put flowers on, and trying to figure it all out. And then when you step back later and you look at pictures or you look at the deities from a distance, you're like, oh, wow. Now I see what Krishna was doing here. So like when you get these like fever pitches of anxiety, it's like Krishna is pushing you to think outside of your box, outside of yourself, outside of your body, outside of what you think is possible, to do what Krishna wants you to do the impossible. So you're so absorbed in serving Krishna, and what he wants. And that's kind of like the relationship. And in this pastime, Rukmini is going through a similar thing where she doesn't know how any of this is going to turn out. She's going through all this anxiety. But I feel like this anxiety adds a little sweetness to everything. It wakes you up. You don't take everything for granted. You don't just go through the routine of everything. There's some juice to it. There's some life to it. Krishna wants to taste like that you're actually putting yourself into it. Not that he wants to, crush your hopes and dreams and, make everything impossible. But the point is to have a loving relationship with the Lord. And in order to do that, you have to give yourself physically, emotionally. You have to give your heart. And then when you do that, Krishna, like Rukmini, he's in Krishna's heart and she's in Krishna's heart. He can't forget her, she can't forget him. And he won't forget her. He's coming to save her. So a lot of times we'll be, in this anxiety, not necessarily before a service or an offering, but we'll be in this kind of anxiety. We're like, how am I going to do this? I'm a horrible person, or I have all these attachments, or whatever the case may be. But Krishna is there to help you through all these difficulties. He's the supreme friend. He's your best friend. One of the points I wanted to bring up is he's your supreme friend. And it's hard to realize, but the main way to realize it is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Having a little faith, hearing from devotees, and chanting and being sincere and doing service, and surrendering into the spiritual master, trying to serve the spiritual master, trying to serve Srila Prabhupada, then slowly all these things they become, you begin to see them. They become relevant. Everything falls into place. I remember one of the first lectures I went to, which was almost 20-something years ago at the Berkeley Temple. It was the first temple I went to. And Trivikram Swami was giving the lecture, and I was super new, so I didn't know. It was probably like my second time being there. But I was super excited. Everything was so fresh and new, like Christmas morning. And I remember some devotee asked a question during the class. He's like, we read all these things about joy and I'm paraphrasing because it was such a long time ago. Joy and bliss and everything. And he was like, I've been chanting Hare Krishna for X amount of time, and I'm not feeling anything, And when I heard that, I was like, oh man, that's kind of depressing. But Trivikram Swami's answer, and again, I'm paraphrasing, is like, are you really putting forth the effort? Are you really diving in? If you're not tasting at least even a little bit of joy or nectar or juice from chanting or any sort of service or Krishna consciousness, then there's something wrong. You're doing something wrong, whether it's being offensive or most likely being offensive somewhere. But I got off on a tangent there. The point I wanted to make is Krishna is your supreme friend, and that if you just stick with things, everything becomes evident. Everything becomes evident. It seems like every class I bring that up, but it just does. And then we read about Rukmini, and Rukmini is not quite, she is a devotee, but she's an expansion of Krishna. But we read about all these devotees and all these wonderful qualities that they have. And then, like for myself, I'm thinking about my qualities. I'm like, oh man, we got a long ways to go. How do we, maybe even some of you may be thinking of qualities that we don't have or that we need to improve or that we need to get. And the way that we get these qualities or imbibe these qualities is through the process of Krishna consciousness. I was looking up, just qualities of devotees and what Prabhupada had to say, about getting these qualities, about improving our qualities. And I'll just read a couple quotes about that. This one is from Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's from the second canto, 10th chapter, verse 41, purport. Simply by associating with devotees and by eating the remnants of their foodstuff, he gradually developed the transcendental qualities of the devotees. By such association, his taste for chanting and hearing the transcendental glories of the Lord became prominent. And because the glories of the Lord are non-different from the Lord, he got direct association with the Lord by means of sound representation. So one way, we get these qualities is by associating with devotees and hearing from devotees. Another quote from the third canto, 13th chapter, 4th verse. Transcendental students are those who undergo great penance in being trained by hearing the Vedas from a bona fide spiritual master. Not only must they hear about the activities of the Lord, but they must also hear about the transcendental qualities of the devotees who are constantly thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord within their hearts. A pure devotee of the Lord cannot be separated from the lotus feet of the Lord for even a moment. So it says right here, hear about the transcendental qualities of the devotees who are constantly thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord. And then we can develop these qualities. And that's what we're doing in Srimad Bhagavatam, hearing about Rukmini, hearing about all these great devotees and their qualities and the anxiety they go through, how they're constantly thinking of Krishna, how to serve Krishna, how they want to serve Krishna, how's it going to happen, thinking of how to execute service, how to please Krishna, how to, and in our case, how to please the spiritual master, how to please the devotees, and then we'll make some real progress, some real spiritual growth. Did anybody have any questions or comments? I know it's a little early. But. Thank you, Maharaj. Maharaj made some very good points that the anxiety that you can be put into in service, in japa, it seems like everyone has it. Even Prabhupada had anxiety, but you can use the anxiety to your advantage, and it can also be purifying. Does anyone else have anything to share? Right. Yeah, that was a good wake-up call. Luckily, it wasn't, anything serious where, it was after 20 minutes, it was fine. But it's just interesting how those things work out. And I could be completely wrong, but I think it adds a little sweetness to everything you do. The anxiety, the stress, even though it is what it is, it's stress. It's not the most joyous thing, but there is some sort of bliss to being in that anxiety and being focused on, being able to focus on being one-pointed and doing that, whatever your service or whatever the thing may be. Yeah. Anybody else? Yeah, and doing these services, it's service for Krishna. So you just have to surrender yourself and give up yourself. Give yourself fully, and then purification will happen, and bliss will come. Anyways, thank you for your attention. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for tolerating me.
Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Marhavatam Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adi Purusham priti manti, pasyanti panti kayanti, jiram naganti, ananda chinmaya sadhu, jala vigrahasya, govindam, adipurusham, amaham bhajami, govindam, adipurusham, amaham bhajami, govindam, adipurusham, amaham bhajami, govindam, adipurusham, amaham bhajami, govindam.
Tamaham Bhajamim. Namaham Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samengiti Namane. Namaste Parvati Devi Gurvani Vacha Deki Vivasesha Zinyavati Matsya Jagade Saturday. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Gokinana, Radha Gokinana, Radha. Jaya Radha Gokinana, Radha Gokinana, Radha. Radhe, 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 Radhe. Radhe, 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 Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe. Jai Om Vishnu Pad. Paramahamsa Acharya Satashi Srimad His Divine Grace Chalanam Bhaktivinoda Prabhupada. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Sivase Gaur Bhakta Shaito Darpanamarjanam Baba Mahabharati Nivapanam Shayat Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Pranamataspardhanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Nam Akari Bauda Nija Sarva Shaktish Tatrapitani Matas Marane Nakala Etadrashi Tavakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrashani Hanani Naduraga Jrinadapi Sunichena Taroriva Sisnuna Amanina Manadena Kirtaniya Siddhavari Nadanam Najanam Nasundari Kavitamba Jagadishikamaye Mama Janmani Janmanishvare Babatad Bhakti Rahai Takitwaye Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishame Bamamuro Kripaya Davapada Pankaja Stitaduli Sadrisim Vijintaya Nayanam Galudashudaraya Vadanam Gadgada Ridyagira Pulaka Nichitam Bapugata Tava Namagrahane Bhavishyati Jugaitam Nimishena Chakshusha Prapashayitam Shunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vidahena Me Ashli Shiva Pralapadashtumam Adarshanam Marmatam Karotuva Yatadata Vavadatu Lampato Mat Prananatas Tu Sevana Praha. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss and enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen to the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of the body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or leaves me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shikshashtaka ki jai.